Smart 24, driving business.
A very good morning to you watching. My name is Masi Katsime and welcome to Smart Minutes Business here on Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business. Well, of course, it is the last day of the week and it's a Friday, the 8th of December 2023, and we are glad here every day from Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. till 9:55 a.m. giving you information on topics that we can learn from. I learn, you learn, and we share information. And of course, I am always joined with Godwin Butler. Good morning, Godwin.
Good morning, Mercy. I hope your night was lovely. It's amazing. It is finally a Friday. I hope you are all ready for the weekend. We have some interesting topics that we're going to get to today. But of course, I want to thank all our viewers that are tuning in from internationally, right? We have viewers from Kenya tuning in on DSTV on our channel 372. And then we have people in Botswana as well tuned in, people in South Africa watching from our different platforms, including our YouTube channel. So yes, people from Democratic Republic du Congo, bonjour, good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. Today we're getting into some interesting topics like understanding corruption and what is the state of corruption in Uganda, and what are some of those things that we can dissect in terms of what's the roots of corruption and what's the roots of corruption in government and in governance. So we'll get into that very briefly.
Well, of course, starting off with the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009, and it was amended, of course, recently in 2015. It applies to both the public and private sectors, and it covers a wide range of corruption offences, including bribery, embezzlement, abuse of office, and money laundering. You know, every form, even abuse of office, that is corruption. Yeah, and of course, it prohibits offerings, giving, and soliciting of bribes. Causing financial loss to the government or public bodies. So you actually, if you're in a government entity or maybe you're in charge of finances or anything, you are accountable. So in case of anything, that is why you've seen even not only even in sports, there was the president of the netball team actually. She had cases over mismanagement of funds. That is corruption. Yeah. So definitely money laundering. Uganda on the
world list,
on the grey list. We are soon going on the blacklist. So definitely people have to give in their possessions so that they can be registered. Where are you getting all that money? You're getting an amount of 500,000, but you own buildings worth billions of money.
I mean, let's talk about some of these things and really dissect what is the root of this corruption and why is it happening so strongly in our country. We have been known all over as one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Uganda is up there, I think the top 20 or top 5. I even think we have now gone to top 1 as one of the most corrupt countries in the world. It's quite scary. We think about the Chogam and how Chogam was misused. We talk about the COVID-19 funds, how they were misused. PDM money, how it was misused. It is a consistent thing with our country. And I'm wondering, why is it so easy to be corrupt in this country? And I feel like we almost grow up knowing that this is just the way, that even just getting my, let me give you a quick example. Going to get my ID, my national ID replaced. I had to pay someone because I knew the system was going to take long and I had to travel soon. Getting my passport to get it replaced soon enough, I had to pay extra money because they tell you, listen, if you want this done quickly, you want to travel tomorrow or you want to travel next week. If you want your thing quickly, we call it express. Already, it's almost like our system has created almost like a loophole where anyone is almost automatically corrupt. You don't even have to. They don't even have to. But the person just looks at you and it's like a soda.
And then it's very funny actually. If you go to some public some universities, for you to get your transcript, which you worked hard for.
Can you imagine?
Really, for you to be certified, my friend. They'll look at you, and the moment you feel sensible enough, and it's easier, they'll be like,
so it's basically not.
They'll just grab it from there. It was there all along.
The whole. It's like there's no merit anymore. Someone needs money at every level, at every minute level. You need to pay money. I remember even when I got my passport the very first time, I was thinking, let me follow the whole process. I'll wait in line. Have you ever waited in line for your passport? Have you ever waited at the immigration office for your passport when they tell you it has come out? It is like waiting for Mecca. The worst feeling in the world. I don't recommend. So guess what? When I found out about Express, quote unquote, it's already in the system. Everyone knows there's Express and there's the normal way. Why can't a normal way be fast enough like other countries? Because if you go to other countries, just getting your line done. I went to get M-Pesa, the line in Kenya, and my goodness, I got it in seconds. And that M-Pesa line, meanwhile, it was operational on mobile money. I could receive money from around the world on that M-Pesa. I could receive money from anywhere, and it was done for me in 5 minutes with my passport. In Uganda, you get to get your MTN, you get your Airtel number, get your MTN number, and my goodness, it's like you're waiting. There's such a laborious process, eh? It's like, why are you waiting for what? Like you made a mistake. You're waiting in line. You're thinking, I hope I get it. And you start thinking you did something wrong.
Or maybe you have some criminal investigation. But anyway, I think it was 2 days ago actually when there was anti-corruption. It was actually international investigates, and there was a speaker that said, people shouldn't say that the big fish are the ones that are taking up the money. Like they do not know the big fish, they don't know about the money. All they know, I mean, this goes to the accounting officers, the procurement officers. So if I told the auditors, so if I told you see the IGG, if you see the IGG coming in, and of course pinning these guys, don't be like, oh, this is unfair. Because this, at the end of the day, it starts with the accounting officers because they're responsible for the money. And we talked about foreign investment and how it's definitely one of the bad effects of foreign investment in Uganda. And one of the ways in which foreigners have been able to manipulate our system is because of the corrupt government bodies, the corrupt systems that we have in place. So someone is able to evade taxes. Someone is able to not have their documentation properly because they have paid the person in charge, whatever collections officer is there, they have bribed him. So you find a lot of people operating illegally in Uganda. It has because even become so much that it's in even schools. It's in schools as well, to get your results. The people bribe to get their results, or to get their kids in Budo. You find someone who got a 12 in Budo. 12. And he's in Budo. And he's in Budo. And you're thinking, but I thought these institutions were created for merit on principle, but there's no principle anymore. So you find that it has trickled down to the very person. We're seeing some of the things that corruption has created, right? Of course, it reduces member trust and participation. We see here that members lose faith in the cooperative model and become hesitant to contribute financially, to participate actively in decision-making processes. And this happens from an individual level. Imagine if the government announced and said, Mercy, everyone needs to contribute towards a bigger cause for the government or contribute towards the road. Would you put your money? Neither. Do you know why? Because you know why? You don't trust the government. You don't. You'll be thinking, transparency issues. There's no transparency. You people are liars. You people are known to misappropriate funds. Why should I put my hard-earned money? Just remember even when they introduced the taxes on internet. Do you remember? Yes. To use Facebook, to use internet, you had to pay 200 shillings. People used VPN now. People used VPN because they're thinking, where is this money going? Remember, we demanded for what is this money going to be used for? There was no transparency. All they told us is government what? Government use. It's your right. You have to pay taxes. Are you paying taxes? And I'm thinking, we're paying taxes on internet? And we almost believed it until people from outside of the country said, you people, you're paying taxes on internet. There's a problem. And you're thinking, because at first you almost believe, because us, we love our peace. We don't like stress, we don't like struggle. So when other people start to tell us, you guys are paying internet, that is a corrupt system. Where is that money going and who's accounting for that particular money? And it was used because it was around for months. The scandal that really pulled my hair off was the one for the COVID-19, the one for food relief. Oh my goodness. It was so unbelievable. It was so evident. Everyone saw that okay, we've given up. We've given up. Trust Uganda. Really? Any scandal that comes up, we're going to use it. Now look at climate. Climate is an ongoing issue because you said it's going to happen. But now we're seeing people like in Kenya and Tanzania spearheading this conversation on climate change. But now when I believe when Uganda starts to get involved in this climate conversation, and there's money that is, because there was funding that was released to the Kenyan government to allocate to different climate causes. So I'm wondering if we also seek that kind of funding
Are we actually going to use it properly and appropriately?
Well, of course, conversations about corruption, oh my goodness, we cannot, because people, when it comes to that, they're always furious. And of course, we have Colonel Edith Nakarema. She's the head of Anti-Corruption Unit, State of House, and of course, ED. And of course, the ED of the Anti-Coalition, Corruption Coalition, and of course, they had something to say on corruption. How far have they gone to curb corruption in the country? Have they done enough, or they still have a lot to do?
That one, we expect citizens to get involved in the war against corruption, but they don't have sufficient information to do that. And most government institutions are using different weaknesses in the current law that we have to deny access to information. Of course, there was a whole aspect of protection of whistleblowers. There are people who come out and whistleblow corruption, but the Whistleblower Protection Act we have is not protecting them quite sufficiently. We don't have a witness protection law in place. That's a very big challenge. Of course, the delayed response to cases when citizens report, this creates apathy that we've been talking about. When citizens are willing to fight, but because the response is too low, that whole issue comes in. And of course, the other aspect was the aspect of lack of total political commitment to fight corruption. At yes, much as we have seen commitment in terms of putting up institutions and establishing laws, but there are some forms of corruption in this country that go uninvestigated and prosecuted because of political connections here and there. And of course, the whole broader issue of impunity, that you're having people especially public servants using public offices, and they are untouchable because probably they have godfathers or because they have ways of getting around the system. So those are some of the challenges that we are facing in terms of moral upbringing. Because corruption that we are facing now, it is a moral problem. The Colonel has talked about that corruption is a decision. You decide to be corrupt, you decide not to be corrupt. So it's a moral problem. It goes back to the core that the morals have changed. These days you're seeing the corrupt being praised, that the people who are being praised and chaffered in expensive cars because it's a culture that we have adopted. And the institutions and the individuals that can drive the change, that can drive a culture of integrity and honesty and hard work are the cultural institutions and the religious institutions. But unfortunately, I think they're also not taking up that responsibility the way they should. But we expect and demand a lot more from them in terms of structuring the upbringing of society and re-engineering the norms to ones of hard work, accountability, integrity, and honesty. And have a candid discussion. We have a privilege that we have structures up to the community where we monitor government services, and then of course we also engage government in terms of the findings that are coming out. We provide alternative policy advice in terms of government, in terms of what legislations that we need, and we do of course that through research, but also through other experiences that we have. We have had civil society organizations that have innovations that are quite helpful in terms of enhancing citizen access to information, in terms of combating corruption, but also training and training the different actors, especially civil society organizations and grassroots structures, and also creating civic awareness among the citizens. And one of the groups that we have here well represented are the young people and the youth. And these are the people who have been reaching out in universities, in higher education institutions of learning, and in their communities to be able to join this war against corruption.
Corruption, to be fought, we have to use collective efforts. Corruption must be fought by individuals at all levels that we are. We must start with ourselves as individuals. We must do what we say. We must be a change that we want to see in our world. We are the ones to mold our children, to impart right morals in our children, because corruption is a moral issue. The moral decadence is what is causing the challenge of corruption to hit hard on every individual, young and old. Therefore, fighting corruption is a responsibility of every human being. It is a responsibility of parents to ensure that children are guided a right way. It's a responsibility of teachers to be great examples to the students or pupils they are teaching. It is a responsibility of employers to ensure that their employees get what they deserve, but also are given and are given conducive results, but also the employers should be honest and credible enough, produce results, and deserve the better pay.
Of course, you've heard it from Kano Nakalema. I do not know what Godwin was here actually lamenting and saying, oh my goodness, you've had this over and over again.
It falls on deaf ears. What they do is they educate us on what needs to be done. Every single person you ask will educate you. No, it is a moral issue. There's apartheid. There's moral apartheid. There is never a solution to the problem. The one thing I can agree with what Gluma said.
It should start from actually from above before it goes to
you understand. Also, one of the only thing I agree with what Nakalema said is maybe to study from a moral issue. It is a moral issue, and it starts from the whole institution, our education system, our cultural system. It starts from the very fabric, our moral fabric as a country. We have been. It started from the government and it trickled down to all of us. So people now know to go anywhere.
Infiltrated. Even the kid being born right now knows.
We know how many times are we on the road going to Mbara, going to places, and the policeman stops you. Someone before the policeman walks to your door, know the answer. Someone already knows. Yes, officer. In COVID, people moved. There was no enforcement. We talked about this yesterday. There is no political enforcement to enforce these laws to make sure that, listen, this is what happened. These are the consequences of corruption. We don't have enough consequences, which is why a lot of people get away with the things they get away with at a very high level. And imagine if the kids are seeing their parents at a very high level getting away with things like bribery, things like corruption. They're going to grow up in the very way, the way very well of the faith that you have taught them, which is an unfortunate thing that's happening.
Well, of course, given the report of 2022 actually, the country loses 9.144 trillion actually, trillion due to corruption annually.
Can you imagine
annually, and of course, beginning with the 2021 report, and of course, it lost 20 trillion. 2021. And of course, a survey made that at least 131 billion is lost through taxation. People do not evade taxes.
Tax evasion, and it still comes back to that corruption issue, because a lot of we talked about foreign investment yesterday, a lot of foreign bodies, a lot of them are evading taxes, a lot of the local ones are also evading taxes. Companies are not registered. If you walk down the street, you'll be surprised, out of 10, there's about one company. 1 in 10 companies is fully registered with URSB, with URA, have their full documentation and paying taxes.
It's not a bad thing people would not know. At the end of the day, these people are going to be like, we do not know you yet, you agreed, you gave in your something. But then they're like...
For me, I gave up when I saw, because I stay in Muyenga side, and there's so many foreigners there. As we know now, it has become a foreign hub. There are many Eritreans and Somalians. The time I saw an Eritrean with a national ID, Ugandan national ID. Not one,
it's supposed to be for
two,
free.
Not three. For foreigners.
Oh, for foreigners.
And I asked them, how long have they been here? We came, we are refugee, they can't even speak English. And I see with the national ID, and there's a problem. There is a problem. From that national level, from the government level, we are allowing passes. So anyone that comes in knows this is how you guys operate. There's no checks and balances. We might as well also do the same thing. If KCCA comes to confiscate our property, we just pay them what? Give them $1 million shillings and they will leave us for another while. That's how it's become. They've come to cut off your water. You pay the person.
You pay the person. The bill is extended.
It's extended.
We're giving you a grace period of like a month. So
we'll keep pushing the next month as long as you pay. And even on the phone, you call them and they'll tell you as long as.
But you see the bad thing. The bad thing is when it comes to that, numerous people are going to come. The more you spend, the more you spend.
That is the issue, because they've understood this is the world we live in. Because there's no checks and balances. Either checks and balances sports say no. You either cut off the water or no. There's no integrity, and that's a moral issue, because we've been raised in the way of we can get things easily, which is why Ugandans are known to be lazy. We are known to take shortcuts, because we have seen from our parents and forefathers that, listen, people take shortcuts all the time. We might as well also start taking shortcuts in everything we do. Getting your results, you pay the professor. Getting anything, you pay the whatever. Going to immigration, you pay someone extra. Going to get your visa, you pay someone extra. So that's how it's become, really. It's such a really deep issue.
Oh, well, of course, 419 billion shillings was lost in user fees utilities, and of course 820 billion lost in natural resources, 15 billion lost in environmental degradation. Well, of course, 2 billion shillings is lost as a result of absenteeism in government departments. This is actually a very, 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 very key thing. The number of, you know, we had cases of absenteeism teachers those days, and of course the absenteeisms, then ghost circles, the ones for PDM.
Yes, we talked about the ghost students.
Yes, ghost
as
students.
well, right?
Yes.
They don't exist, but they're seeking funding from abroad. We also have people that set up NGOs that do not exist. They send pictures of kids with flies, kids in mud, and they send them abroad. We have all known that, listen, as long as we create this facade, actually, if we're not careful, Uganda is going to be one of those countries blacklisted after Nigeria. Holding, by the way, they say the Nigerian passport is one of the hardest passports to hold in the world. Do you know why? Because it's what they call it, it's under scrutiny, it's scrutinized heavily when you're traveling. Every time they say a Nigerian passport, we just saw a documentary from Mauritius. People that are coming in with a Nigerian passport in Mauritius have it harder. Trust me, if you try to go to Mauritius, it's a beautiful country, but one of the hardest visa laws. Entry is hard on foreigners, especially if you have a Nigerian passport. But now Uganda has slowly trickled up in there because it was blacklisted, I think, by UAE, some of the countries, I think Dubai, whatever. But now Uganda is slowly propping up as one of those. But we're going to continue this conversation on corruption. It's a very interesting one, clearly. But we're going in for the traffic update. Yes, Andrew Barije, good morning, and please tell us what's happening on the roads this morning.
Coming live here at the Kira Road junction in here. As you can really observe, it's quite a free movement of the vehicles in here that is happening right there. Well, it's quite a cold morning still, and of course during the morning hours, most of the parts around Kampala had some bit of light showers of rain, and probably that could explain, maybe that's why some of the people have not been in position to actually get off and get to the road and go to execute other related businesses. As you can really take a look down there at my back, you can clearly see it's quite a free lane for the people that are coming in, that is from Bukoto and Tinda, and you're probably likely to use the Bukoto, Tinda Bukoto route. You can actually see it's quite a very free lane. It's a free lane for you to come, and same applies to those that are probably leaving the city and they're heading towards Tinda Bukoto. It's probably the same fate that they are going to really experience. So it's quite a very free, and according to my observation, there is no traffic officer being in control of these vehicles. It's the traffic lights that absolutely are taking control. And in my observation still, I can see that there is absolute observance. The people that are driving these vehicles are quite putting up quite enough discipline in here to really make sure that there is no traffic-related accidents that can actually occur in the process. Well, and now away from Tinda Bukoto Road, we take a look at the Kira Road itself. Very free for those people, for those that are leaving the city, coming in from the different areas, and you're probably coming to Ntinda. You can actually come via the Kira Road and proceed to Bukoto, Ntinda, and so many other related destinations, such that you will be able to reach your destinations in the required time, where necessary. Very few, of course, pedestrians around this particular area, according to what I'm seeing this very early morning. But hopefully, as time goes on, probably in the later hours of the day, it might get a little bit congested, because a majority of the people will actually now think about joining the road and go and execute their businesses. Now, when we take a look at the Lugogo bypass route, of course, it has two lanes. There is one which takes you straight, that is to the Lugogo bypass, and this other one which still links you to the same area. So you can clearly see those that are coming in from Tinda, or actually perhaps Nakawa, and you have plans to probably head to Bukoto, or you're heading to Kira. Well, it's quite appropriate for you. You will be in position to actually reach in the required time. There is observance of the traffic rules here, despite us not having a traffic officer that is on ground to make sure that everything moves very, very, very perfect. So that is what we are really observing. Of course, it's more like the weather is cloudy, and it's kind of threatening, it's kind of promising that probably later in the day we might have some bit of showers, and it could be still in the morning hours, probably about an hour from now or 1.5 hours. So that will likely lead to much more congestion, as you can really observe the situation right there. So it's all free, regardless of where you're coming in from, to join in from the city center, or you're coming from these areas and you're heading towards the city center. It's quite very key. It's quite very free for you to go and execute. You can clearly see vehicles held in about a space of 3 to 5 minutes before they are set free to go to the different destinations. So you can clearly observe how effectual the business can run at this time, at this very hour, if you choose to get onto the road. Now, maybe finally, if we can take back to where we started, the Ntindabkoto route, I can see, I kind of assume that in the next 1 hour, it's likely to get much more busier, as I can see a little bit of a pickup of the vehicles, but it's actually not really as much congested as you can. As of now, if you're on your way out right now and you are from Ntindabkoto, and you're planning to come to the city center or head towards Lugogo, well, this is the right time for you. Probably in the later hours, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to make it through that way. Yes, well, that is it for the traffic updates this particular morning. At this point in time, let me take you back to studio at plot 42, Nell Avenue. That is with Godwin and Marcy.
Andrew, for that beautiful report, and of course you've had it. So if you're coming in from Ntindabkoto, just know in an hour's time there's going to be some traffic. And of course, conversations today are routine around corruption, and I guess some of you must be really excited for this topic, because this is the very topic that gets people talking. Everyone has an opinion on it, and people are furious. There is nothing good that comes from people's mouths when it comes to this kind of topic. Well, it's just 27 minutes past 7 a.m. Of course, we're going in for a short commercial break, but please, it's a very good morning. How about you take yourself a cup of tea as you wait? Coming up is East Africa International Business News.
Smart 24, driving business.
Jovia. Ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu, nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ag'ewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo, ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo. Okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa. Jovia, kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli.
Tewali kumu ku kye ky'osobola okukola omukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
Ugandans come to Ginger City every weekend, and December 16th, 2023 is Uganda's end-of-year party as Smart FM hosts the Smart Swag Fest Season 2. Don't miss performances from Uganda's top DJs, MCs and artists like the king herself, Cindy Baby, and her full band, Fig for Maker, UG Boys, Kesmon Switch, King Zamba, Waymaker Official, Voice Nancy, Zaptom Rizla, Lance Soldier, and many more local artists. Let's meet at the Chairman's Back, next to Ginger Showgrounds. Get your early bird tickets now at 15K and at the gate 20K. Gets open from 10 a.m. till late. The Smart Swag Fest is organized by 89 Smart FM and Hot Shots. Powered by Smart 24 TV, Cisan Suits, NBS Cordeo, GZ Mechatronics, Ginger Hippos, Kampala University, Albeit Electronics and Solar Center, TMU Tubing and Rafting, Banji Uganda, Quad Biking Ginger, Cable Giants, Stardom Visuals and Audio, Bidco, and
tastefully different. Not for sale to persons under 18.